Today is the day that the pink hair makes its first appearance, and of course, because why wouldn't I match my lips to my hair, obviously. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. So today we are going to be talking all about full coverage foundations. So I put together a little group of some of my favorite full coverage foundations, and I also have 3 that I'm not such a fan of. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, then you definitely already know that I am really into foundations that keep skin looking like skin. So for me, the perfect full coverage foundation will give me that really like heavy coverage. It will cover up absolutely everything that I want to cover up, but it won't give me the look of like really heavy and cakey makeup. So all the foundations that I'm gonna be recommending today all do that for me. Please let me know in the comments, as always, some of your all-time favorite foundations. I would love to get some more recommendations from you guys. And of course, give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. So without further ado, let's get started. So I think I want to start off with my newest find. Now, I actually very recently tried out this foundation, but I very quickly fall in love with it. I tried it out in my testing new makeup video, and I've worn it almost every single day since. So this is the Dior Skin Forever Perfect Makeup Everlasting Wear Pore Refining Effect with Sunscreen. That is like the longest name ever. So I think the key to getting a really lightweight look that's not cakey with full coverage foundations is going in with a very small amount of product and also using a beauty blender. I do find that when I use a beauty blender with a full coverage foundation, it will make it look so much lighter on the skin, but it will still keep the coverage there. So that is something that I do really like about the Forever foundation. I'm able to use a very small amount, but that small amount goes a very long way, and I'm able to get a lot of impact with it. And the actual texture of this foundation is quite thin. It's not like a super heavy or thick formula, so that makes it really easy to actually spread out and blend out on the face. And as far as the finish for this foundation goes, I find that it has more of like a natural finish. It's not too dewy at all, but it's not too matte either. It sort of sits right in the middle, so it gives the skin a little bit of like a natural sheen. And it does say that it has a pore refining effect, and I have to very highly agree with that. I find that it really does like make my pores disappear, almost like I face-tune them in real life. It's insane, and it has definitely been staying on my vanity ever since I cracked this open, so I have to highly recommend this one. So the next foundation that I wanted to mention is a drugstore find, and this is another one that I've tried recently on my channel. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. Now, I really feel like this is a wonderful dupe for the Dior Forever foundation. I find that they actually give my skin a very, very similar effect. The only difference I would say is that the Wet n Wild foundation is maybe like a touch more on the dewier side. It's same with the Forever foundation. A very small amount of this product can go a very long way. So this is like a medium coverage right out of the gate, and then you could build it up to a full coverage just by very lightly layering a little bit of product over the areas where you feel like you want that extra amount of coverage. And similar to the Forever foundation, I do find that this also gives my skin a very like soft focus effect. And of course, it's from Wet n Wild, so it's extremely affordable, especially compared to the Forever foundation. It's definitely just a little bit less expensive. And I also find that this foundation actually looks even better throughout the day. When I first put it on, it looks really great, but once my natural oils like start to come through and the foundation really has time to like fully settle onto my face, I find it looks even better, which is always great. Sometimes it's the opposite case with full coverage foundations. It will start to look really like cakey and cracked throughout the day. Okay, so the next product that I wanted to recommend, I feel like it's quite underrated. I don't hear a ton of people talk about this. I have mentioned this in past videos, but I haven't in quite some time, so I want to give this product a little bit more love. This is the Cover FX Total Cover Cream Foundation. Now, honestly, typically I would never ever really naturally gravitate towards a cream foundation that's in a compact. However, when I actually bought this, a Cover FX representative was in Sephora, and she was just talking to me about this product, and she was really getting me very intrigued by it. And she was telling me that even though this is a cream foundation and it's full coverage, it still looks really nice and natural looking on the skin. And she also told me that it works amazing for all skin types, so that sort of sold me. Now, the only thing about this product is I feel like there is not really like a learning curve to it, because you don't really have to learn anything new, but you gotta know how to apply this properly in order to get the most out of the product, basically. I do find the best way to apply this product is by first applying it to your face with your fingers, just sort of like dotting it all over the face, and then going in with the beauty blender to blend it out. I would personally not really recommend using a brush. I do find that that makes it look a little bit heavier, and I just don't find that it blends it out very well. Or you could just go in with the beauty blender directly from the contour compact onto the face, that works too. And using an oil with this product actually works really, really well. It sort of solves that blending issue. It makes it blend out really, really easily, and it also adds a little bit of an extra dewiness, but still keeps that coverage there. So if you're the type of person who likes to touch up on the go, this is a great product to have. You won't have to worry about this exploding in your makeup bag as well, because it is in a little compact. And I also find that this product works really great as more of like a high coverage concealer as well. Like, let's say you have a blemish that sort of just popped up in the middle of the day, you could take this out of your makeup bag and cover it up very easily. So the next foundation that I want to recommend is another product that I feel like doesn't really get spoken about a ton. This is the Natasha Denona Foundation X Full Coverage with Fruit Complex. Now, this is a foundation that really surprised me. I did not expect to like it as much as I did, because for some reason I thought that this would be a very, very matte and very drying formula, but that was not the case. Now, it is a little bit more matte than where I would typically like my foundation to be. So with this product, I do like to use more of like a glowy primer underneath, just to give me that little bit of glow that I personally prefer. And another little side note, this is a formula that I personally don't feel like I need to set with powder. I do actually prefer not to set more full coverage foundations, because I find that when I do set them, it almost makes them look a little bit heavier than they need to look. It really does just make everything look really nice and smooth, and it looks amazing on camera and in photos. The only thing with this product that I would definitely keep in mind is that it does set fairly quickly, so you do have to sort of work fast with it. Otherwise, you can experience a little bit of patchiness. So if you don't want that to happen, you work one section of the face at the time so you don't run into that problem. And like I said, with all full coverage foundations, but with this one especially, I would recommend using a beauty blender. I just find that it gives it the best finish, whereas with a brush, it could look a little bit heavier than it needs to look. But this covers up everything. It doesn't look cakey, doesn't stick to my dry patches, and that is why I really like this product. So the last of my favorite full coverage foundations is one that I have spoken about quite a lot on my channel. There was like a period of time where it was the only foundation that I was basically using, and it is the Hourglass VANISH foundation stick. So this foundation truly does just like melt right into your skin. It's one of those that will really just make your skin look perfect, but it will not look like it's actually there. And what I also really like about this is how buildable it is. You can get quite a light coverage with this by sort of just going in with the beauty blender and tapping into the product directly and then going in on your face. Or you can build this up to a very, very full coverage by literally just drawing in stripes on your face and then blending it out with a brush. I find that it works very well with both a beauty blender and a brush. If you feel like you want even more coverage, then I would blend it out with the dense buffing brush. But if you want something that, you know, looks a little bit lighter on the skin, then you could always go in with a beauty blender. What I actually like to do is I like to buff it out with a brush, because I find that it just spreads the product out really nicely throughout the skin. And then I will go in with a beauty blender afterwards and sort of just tap over it. It almost just like pushes it into your face, and then it really makes it just look super natural. But like I said, it still gives you that coverage. And also, as somebody with dry skin, I don't find that I have to set this with powder, which is always fantastic. And I do find that because I don't have to set it with powder throughout the day, it actually starts to look dewier and dewier. The finish itself is more of like a satin finish, so it's not too dewy and not too matte. But if you don't set it with powder throughout the day, at least for me, it does become a little bit dewier. However, if you do have oily skin, you may want to set it with just a little bit of powder just to really lock it in place. But for me, I never really have an issue with it transferring or going anywhere or not lasting throughout the day. In fact, it lasts really, really well. This is also one of my go-to foundations to wear for events. It's like a no-fail for me. I know that whenever I'm going to use it, I'm going to get what I'm expecting. There's like never any surprises with this product. So those are some of my all-time favorite full coverage foundations. Now I've got 4 full coverage foundations over here, which I will quickly brief over and let you guys know why I don't particularly like them, why I don't reach for them. So let's get into them. So the first is the Kat Von D Locket Tattoo. Now this is probably the most full coverage foundation I have in my collection. There's no doubt about that. Like, this stuff could easily, with like a tiny little pea-sized amount, this could cover up a tattoo. Like, there's no doubt that you're gonna get a really intense amount of coverage with this, but it's almost impossible for it to look even a little bit natural on the face. Like, this is just the type of foundation that you're gonna see sitting on top of the skin, and that's just not something that I really prefer. However, I do know that there's like a cult following behind this particular product. I know a ton of people who do really, really like it. I do know that it's like very long wearing, and it's especially really great for an oilier skin type. It just, for me personally, doesn't really fit the criteria that I look for when it comes to a fuller coverage foundation. Now, very similar to the Kat Von D Locket is the Urban Decay All Night nighter. Now this is a product that causes a lot of mixed emotions for me because sometimes I'll apply it and I just will not like the way it looks. I'll find that it looks really, really heavy and just like super, super cakey, whereas some other times I will apply it and I'll actually quite like the way it looks. However, like throughout the day as I wear it, I find that it just continues to look heavier and heavier, and it settles into like my smile lines, and it just looks really, really dry and cracked. I also find this to be a little bit difficult to work with. This foundation sets down so quickly. You have to work really, really fast in order to blend it in. Otherwise, you will end up with patchiness and demarcation lines. This next foundation is the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover. And now with this product, I also have a bit of like mixed emotions because I actually really like the way that this looks on camera. It makes my skin look really velvety. However, in person, it is just really not, it's not the best look. Because of the texture of the product, and it's quite thick, I find that it just settles into every single line on my face. It makes my skin look a lot older than it is, especially when you look up close, and that is why I'm just not a fan of this product. Lastly, we've got the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Full Coverage Foundation. Now this actually looks very similar on the skin to the Infallible Total Cover. With this product, I mostly have a problem with making it look really smooth on my skin. Every time I would try and like build it up, it would almost like skip over the areas that I was trying to cover, and I just found that it was a little bit difficult to work with, and it also just didn't make my skin look really great. Once again, similar to the Infallible Total Cover, older than it actually is, and just it's settled and it looks cakey, and it wasn't my jam. So guys, that is it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and you found it helpful. Please do not forget to let me know in the comments some of your all-time favorite full coverage foundations, and even some full coverage foundations that you're not quite a fan of. Give this video a big thumbs up, and of course subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.